right. We're now live from my computer, so you'll just get to see bits and bobs of my face as I move around. Sorry about the issues, it does happen, and it's going to play into what I will say next as well, in that even though there have been issues and you have seen that people are working hard to fix them, I still saw quite rude comments on the chat. It does happen, and when your assignments break and you've got issues with your assignments, you want us to treat you with respect, and you have to show the same respect to whatever is happening in the classroom as well. All right, we do not use Moodle in this course, no Moodle, okay? And you're going to thank us for that later. We have our own website, and that's where we put up everything that you need for the course, okay? So you'll be able to find it, and you'll use it all through the term, just our website. For admin-related issues, you can email us on the course email, cs1511@unsw.edu.au. You can email me directly, but you're not going to get as fast a response as if you email the admin account, because I'm the only person that checks my email. Unfortunately, I would love an assistant. But CS1511 is checked by 4 of us, which means that you're more likely to get a response much faster. If you have any enrollment issues at all, okay, do not email us. We can't help you with the enrollment, unfortunately. The enrollment issues, you have to go to Nucleus. They're the only ones that can help you with anything to do with your enrollment. Okay, who has heard about ELPs and what equitable learning services are at university? If you haven't, equitable learning services are for students that have ongoing issues that might prevent them from doing as well in the course as they can. So you can make an equitable learning plan if you have a need of one by going to that website and setting up a meeting with a person from Equitable Learning, and you get provisions for the course, things like extensions and stuff, potentially exam provisions depending what your needs are. So it's very important that you get this assistance if you need it, because it helps you to be on, able to achieve to your full potential. Okay. Hey? Oh, I hope you were enjoying that. It was the final straw, wasn't it? That was the final straw for me. Okay, the forum. You have all received an invitation to the Ed Forum. Who has accepted it? Not everyone. I saw it was like 700 people and it wasn't everyone. Please follow the invite that was sent to you to accept it. And if there's any issues, please let us know. The forum is used a huge amount throughout the term to ask questions and to help you sort out any issues with assignments and stuff. Also the same. Don't email your tutor, ask it on the forum, and it will get a much faster response. We have people trawling the forum quite consistently. And when you are in your own tut lab, you can ask questions from your tutor or your tutoring assistant, because they can help you even with assignment-related questions as well. We run help sessions in this course, which means that you can get one-on-one help if you need. Usually no one comes to those for a while until the assignment is due, and then suddenly there is a 2-hour waiting period to get into a help session. So that's one thing I'll say about the assignments. Start them early, because then you'll be able to get help early as well if you need to. So help sessions will only start in week 3, because the first assignment won't be released until week 4. Okay, so what is 1511? It is your intro to programming. This is where it all starts. Most of you are required to do this course to be able to move on from it. And there are a few reasons for it. One of those reasons is that we want you to have the same start to programming and the same understanding when you move on to other courses. But we also want you to make friends in this course and build your support networks so that you can kind of get through your degree with a support system in place as well. Okay, so who has done programming before in any language? Amazing. And who has done programming in C? Oh, a few of you. Okay, well, you'll have fun. So we do this in C. I see someone's even done lots of Python, I reckon. Is that it? Who's done Python? Yeah, weak language. No, it's not. Python is fine, but C is so much more fun. Not at the start though, but you're in for it, sorry. So programming is basically writing a set of instructions that the computer can follow, and then, you can solve a problem with it, which is amazing. And what I will say is that often when you haven't programmed before as well, it will be quite difficult to get into what programming is, because actually you're learning two things at once. You're learning a whole new language, and you're also learning how to problem solve something very different. So don't be really hard on yourselves. Give yourselves a chance. Practice makes perfect, and you've got to just keep pushing and keep kind of trying to get through it in the nicest possible way. So we assume you have no prior knowledge here. We assume that you have zero programming experience. But we do also try and challenge those that do have programming experience. You will have extra challenge exercises. Some of them will be for no marks. They're just for funsies. So we do hope that you do them because they are funsies. And we will teach you those fundamentals of programming. We'll teach you how to approach and solve problems, and how to, write your code nicely so that someone else can read it and understand what you're saying. Because handwriting, it's the same as code style. Ugh. Okay, so lectures. We have 2 lectures, and what you saw this morning, that 30 minutes of issues, is why the Tuesday lecture is running online only. And that's because I got done with having issues, and I would like one lecture to run beautifully and not have any issues in one lecture at least. That's the wrong day for the lecture as well, Wednesday 4 till 6. That's clearly in my mind when, I said to Grace this morning, I know I've made a mistake somewhere, and it was in the date of the lecture. So the first lecture is in here, 11 till 1, and it's streamed online to YouTube. The second lecture is not on Wednesday, it's on Tuesday, 2 till 4, and it is online only. Also, it's streamed live to YouTube. There are recordings to the lectures, but it's so much more fun in person. You get to see me get angry, and you get to see Grace sing. You wouldn't get that normally. Week 6 is flex week, so there are no classes in week 6, okay? There's no lectures, there's no tutes, there's no labs. If you have any questions, you please ask on the live chat. The live chat is monitored by the lovely humans sitting on the floor. Someone just said, can we get another lecturer? Well, I'll find you. Trust me, you don't want another lecturer. Especially when it comes time for you when you're struggling. Okay, please be respectful of others at all times. Everyone is here to learn. We do not tolerate disrespectful behaviour. As you saw that message get deleted. Don't be not nice, okay? There are a lot of people. Everyone is different. Be nice to each other and be nice to all the staff of the course. And it's really a lesson for life. You don't need to be rude. There's just no need for it. Now, I'm going to be away for a few weeks at a conference presenting something. So in the next few weeks, you are actually going to have a different lecturer, and it's going to be the lovely Ange, and she's going to walk you through a few weeks of the content. Okay, so in the lectures, this is going to be the most boring lecture because all I'm going to do is just mostly do slides and talk through them. In my normal lectures, I don't really use slides a lot. You will get slides. I will upload them every Sunday evening, and you can use them as just notes to remember what's going on in the lecture. But mostly I will do a lot of live coding and a lot of talking through issues and kind of trying to put it out that way, because it's more fun to actually be doing something, and you can code along with me, right? So we will have live code updated every time I save my files. So if you lose me, you can look up that code, you can redo it into your own environment. So we can all kind of be together in the trenches, coding, having issues. We'll do some problem solving as well. So we'll actually talk about how we approach a problem and how we solve it. And what I was saying before, the more problems you do, the better you get at seeing what needs to be done. So before the code can start, you really need to know how to approach the problem as well. Okay, so everything will be on the course website, including the live code, and then the lecture recordings will be on the YouTube playlist, and it's also all available on the course website. So in this course, the course website, and also the lovely Ed Forum, which you will be using a lot. Okay, then you have your tutorial. For some of you, you've noticed on your timetable, you have something called a TLB, and that's a tut lab, okay? They're joined together. It looks like it's a 3-hour fiasco and you'll be stuck somewhere for 3 hours. It's not that bad, I promise. 1 hour is a tutorial. All of your tutors are absolutely lovely. They are such lovely people, and they really try and make tutorials engaging and fun for you. And that tutorial will go further in depth on all the topics that we're learning about in lectures. It's a good place to kind of get to know the theory a little bit better and to understand what's going on. You'll work through problems, do some activities all together, learn how to solve problems, and hopefully meet some more new people. And again, on our website is where you'll find all the information for tutorials. Okay, there are some online tutorials and there's face-to-face tutorials, so check your timetable for what you enrolled in. If you're online classes, we use Teams. Please turn on your cameras if you can, and if you've got pets, well, if it were up to me, I'd get you all to bring your pets in here and we would just pat dogs the whole day, but that's probably not good for a university course, so we're not doing that. And we're going to release the sample answers to tutorials as well, so you don't need to worry, but do try and participate. It makes it so much more fun. After that 1 hour tut where you kind of get to reinforce the concepts learned in the lecture, you and your tutor are going to walk over to your lab all together, and you have a 2-hour lab session that comes directly after the tutorial. So that's the practical coding component. You're going to sit in front of computers and you're going to do a lab that we provide you with to do. In week 1, that lab is going to be, quite simple. In week 2, things are still going well. This course does have a steep learning curve, so be careful, don't lull yourself into a false sense of security. Keep working consistently through, and that will hopefully set up some good habits as well. In the lab, you're able to raise your hand and ask your lab assist or your tutor for any help or any questions, and they can help you in that one-on-one capacity as well. You can ask about assignments, labs, whatever you want. Now in the lab, there's going to be problem sets, and they're going to be due weekly, and they're going to be due weekly on Mondays at 6 p.m. and you're going to be required to do them. The labs are broken up as kind of with difficulty. They're labeled. There's 1-dot exercises, which are the simpler exercises, 2-dot exercises, and 3 dots. And there's some skull challenges, not for marks, for those of you that are interested in doing those. Now, to get the full marks, you don't even need to do you just need to do all the 1 and the 2 dots to get full marks in the labs, okay? But I do suggest that you at least try the 3 dots because it helps you to build up your, practice and your ability in programming as well. And nothing in week 6. In week 6, you would think that you're relaxing, but you're absolutely not relaxing. In week 6, you're literally catching up and trying to sleep and also catch up on everything that needs doing. Also, you'll be doing your assignment 1 in week 6, so it's going to be super fun. 2 assignments in this course, and they are going to be in week 4, given the first one, due in week 7, and the second one is going to be released in week 7. I try to give you like at least 2-day break between the assignments, 3 days if I can, depending what's going on, and then it will be due in week 10 before you go off to study for exams. So it's a pretty intense schedule. Get ready to not see the light of day. But there we have it. Now the assignments are broken up into stages. The stages are also labeled with difficulty, so you'll be able to keep pace with yourself and know what you're able to achieve. Help sessions will be open. You'll be able to get help for assignments. And there is late penalties of 5% per day late, and nothing is accepted after 5 days late unless you have special consideration. So help sessions, I've talked about help sessions at length, basically a place to ask help, okay? So we will announce them and we will get you through them. They get really, really, really busy around assignment deadlines. There's hour-long queues to kind of get into a help session. So the best advice I can give you is to start your assignments early and also to use your lab time that you're scheduled in to also ask questions as well. There is a final exam in this course, and the final exam is invigilated. It's in person, and you'll be working on the computer to complete some problems in C. You'll be coding, and then you will be submitting. And there's some questions that will get you to do other things. We do provide you a practice exam in week 10, so you know what the format is, what it looks like, what you need to do to log in. And part of this course and part of that exam is 2 hurdles, which means that you cannot pass the course unless you pass those 2 hurdles. And in the course, we learn 2 main data structures. We learn arrays and linked lists. So it comes as no surprise that the 2 hurdles are arrays and linked lists, and you must answer a question with each one and pass that question. But we will talk more about the exam as the course goes on. So don't worry about the exam for now. We've got bigger things to worry about to start with, including just having a nice time in week 1 before things get busy. So the total assessment is labs are 15% of the course, assignment 1 is 20, assignment 2 is 25, and the final exam is 40. So to pass the course, you have to score an overall 50 out of 100, but also you have to pass the 2 hurdles. So even if you get 60 and you don't pass the hurdles, you fail the course. You have to pass the hurdles. And if you do your lab exercises and the assignments, if you do them yourself, you will very easily pass the hurdles, right? If you don't do them yourself, if you use ChatGPT and all the rest of it, you will struggle in the exam. Okay, there is also this thing called special consideration, okay? You may not make it through the next 10 weeks without getting sick or getting a cold, or hopefully nothing more than getting a cold. But if you need special consideration, you're not well, you cannot do your work at uni, you cannot meet the deadline because you are unwell, go to the doctor, get a medical certificate and apply for something called special consideration, which is able to give you an extension on whatever it is that is due. So please make sure to don't push yourself if you're not well, just get special consideration, okay? Because you're going to burn out, and this is your first term at uni, you've still got a lot going on, so don't burn out now. Okay, I've talked about ELPs, SUP exams. Okay, a lot of you will read this thing the university has, which is a fit to sit rule, which says that if you show up to an exam, you deem yourself fit to sit that exam and you cannot get a SUP exam, okay? And you will also read their very confusing policy that says you have to show up to the exam, you might not get a SUP exam. If you are not well, do not show up to the exam, okay? I've had enough of being thrown up on, and you would be surprised that's happened quite a few times now. So if you are unwell, do not show up to the exam. Go to the doctor instead. That's a good place to go to if you're not well. And apply for a SUP exam. A SUP exam will always be given to you if you have a medical need, right? It's going to be exactly the same in format as the main exam. You're not missing out on anything. If you are not well, do not come to the exam. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get a SUP exam, okay? And it's sometime in May. And we do not know the date until they're released to you as well. We know at about the same time as you. So, but you need to be available to sit it if you need it, right? You can't say, oh, well, actually, I'm traveling and I'm having a good time. So then, yeah, there's no other SUPs given after that. So, again, I'll just say again, this course and the university allows all students to learn regardless of background or situation. You are not here to hinder anyone else's learning, and that means that you show respect to everyone around you. No inappropriate behaviour, no harassment, bullying, aggression or sexual harassment. Obviously, it seems obvious, but we still see cases of it. Please be kind to each other and respect each other. respect others' privacy, and of course no discrimination of any kind as well. So just be nice to each other and to us as well. Plagiarism. Who knows what plagiarism is? The bane of my existence. You do not want to be sitting in a plagiarism interview with me. You really don't. I don't know who will break down crying first, you or me, but definitely Sophia if she's sitting in it. Please do not plagiarize. I know that sometimes things feel very desperate and you just think, well, I can't handle it. I'm just going to copy someone else. We will find you, okay? Yeah.
I was just going to ask regarding the sickness point. What if you start feeling well, but then during the exam you start feeling worse and worse? Is there anything to do, or is that sort of thing?
If you start feeling unwell, you need to raise your hand and let the invigilator know immediately. We will remove you from the exam and I will help you apply for special consideration. We'll take you to the UNSW Health to apply. You will get a SUP, yeah. Do not continue the exam if you're feeling unwell. I don't want anyone fainting, please. The ambulance takes ages to get here. Also has happened, okay? Yeah.
Wait, isn't there a medical service within UNSW?
There is, and during exam week, it's very hard to get an appointment. There's a lot of very sick students that are trying to get a SUP. So, yeah, strongly recommend seeing your own doctor if you can, if you're not feeling well. Yeah. Okay, so plagiarism, the bane of my existence. We check for plagiarism, and any kind of cheating is penalized. You might get a 0 for the assignment, depending on what's going on, and you might get worse. Plagiarism is considered also if you give your work to someone else to copy. Even though you've done your work, but you've given it to someone else to copy, you will get 0 as well, because you're not meant to be giving out your work to copy for everyone to copy, basically. So you're allowed to discuss an assignment in that you can discuss how you're solving it, how you're approaching it, but no code sharing, right? So please, yeah, please. It's just depressing. Plagiarism's depressing. Yeah, and if you feel like you're like, okay, I don't know what to do, I'm desperate, I'm going to plagiarize, you know what? Just send us an email. I will not judge you. Everyone at some stage has felt like they cannot do it anymore. They're going to plagiarize. We will help you, okay? In 1511 in particular, we have a lot of resources to help students, and we want to make sure that you can learn something from this course as well and have a nice time in it, not feel sad and desperate and ready to plagiarize someone else just to hand in this assignment. Okay, so your submission has to be entirely your own work, no using other people's code. You can't ask someone else to solve the problem for you, but you can talk about ways that you might approach a problem. And don't form an over-reliance on AI. Obviously, I can't stop you from using it. I'm not sitting with you every time you're, coding. But remember that you need to understand what the code does as well. If you are learning to code and you start using AI and you've got no idea what that code is doing, that it is producing for you, well, I'd say we've got a problem. I wouldn't want to have a pacemaker with code in it from someone that didn't understand what code it was, because that can have very serious consequences. And also, if that doesn't scare you, which you probably won't because you can't see ahead so far, there's no AI or anything in the exam, so you will be very, you'll be caught out. And yeah. Okay, so at best you lose marks. At worst, you'll be asked to leave UNSW. It takes a while to get that. Obviously, no one's going to kick you out on your first plagiarism. But, most importantly, you're paying money to learn something, so it'd be nice to learn something as opposed to plagiarize. So yep, main point is don't plagiarize. Okay, more info, course webpage, course forum, the lectures recorded, one-on-ones during lab sessions and your help sessions. Any serious issues, 1511, or if you feel that you would like to discuss something of a more sensitive nature you don't want anyone else to see, please feel free to email me directly. And you can find my email online as well. So, yeah, any questions so far about some of the admin stuff? Yeah.
You said you can't use other people's code, that is pseudocode for it's alright. Like the basic logic behind it?
Yeah, so like you can discuss it, but it depends how good that pseudocode is, how modular and broken down it is. If it's like seriously stepping you through steps, probably not. Because then it's like you're literally just writing a few lines surrounding, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do I need to remember the exact syntax of languages in final exam, or can I use like editors for?
You'll have a very basic VS Code editor, but it will not, yeah, you'll have to remember syntax, yeah. Okay, student support. I only put this up in my first year because you guys don't know yet what the university has on offer. The university has everything on offer, and you can find this lecture slide will be in the lecture slides. You can access it later. But there is mental health support. There is UNSW Health, which has doctors that you can see. There's academic and study skills, and there is adjustments. There's special considerations. So please use the services that the university has available to you, and because they are free of charge to you, so you might as well use everything that they have to offer. All right, and I'm going to put this out there just before we have like a little 1-minute break, because we've had a lot of breaks today. But coding is not easy, okay? It's just not, because it's a really different way of thinking. And so around you, some of you are going to find it to be really easy because you've done it before, and that gives you a little bit of a leg up. Some of you will find it to be really, really difficult. For those that are finding it easy, don't be unkind to those that are not finding it easy. Maybe help them instead, and talk them through it. We want everyone to enjoy the course, and we want everyone to enjoy being at university as well. And it's not a nice experience when you feel like you're being left behind and you don't know what's going on, and everyone around you knows what's going on. I also will say that usually the people that do know what's going on are in the minority, except that they are the loudest. So it feels like everyone around you knows what's going on. That's not the case. Most people around you are probably on the same level as you, just learning how to code to start with. Coding is not easy, and maybe the first few weeks will be great. Then it will get harder as we toss in more and more concepts and things. You have to combine more and more things to think about. So please don't hesitate to ask us for help. We are here to help you, and we want to help you. We want this to be a positive experience for you. So please, please, please don't suffer in silence. I hate it when people suffer in silence. All right, 2-minute break, and then we will come back and we will continue, and we'll talk a little bit more about computing and less about admin. Hello.
This course can be preferred to be the theory courses, right?
No, it's very practical.
I mean, just the real times for using the computer. I think like the tuitions or the lab.
So you can code along in the lecture with me. I'm going to be doing coding in the lecture as well, but in the lab is when you'll be doing your own coding and solving problems, your own problems.
And in this course, it will also and often to use a computer, right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I have a feeling the answer is no.
No, I can change it.
It could be top left instead.
right. All right, let's continue. Sorry, usually it's a lot more, makes a lot more sense with the break in the middle. Okay, two things. The lecture chart, it is in English. Please do not write in foreign languages. I do not know what you've written. I cannot read other languages, or maybe a few, but none of the ones that are on there. Please do not write, only write in English, okay? Or we will remove the message. This YouTube, even though it's a YouTube live, you are still at university, okay? You cannot use disrespectful language. I do not know what you've written, so I will delete it because I don't know what it says on there and I don't want it to be disrespectful. Please, 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 in English and keep it respectful, okay? This applies for the forum as well. And I don't want to go into mum mode and have to school how to be respectful to others, please. Thank you. Okay, let's continue this amazing, fun lecture. You know what? I feel like we need some chocolates to just lift up the mood a little bit. I've never seen Grace throw, but she has represented Australia in a sport, so that no one knows about. That's right, but I love the video. Okay. Let's do some chocolates out. Hopefully no one gets hit, so watch out. Heads up.
I'm sure Jen will throw you back.
So on it.
I'm so sorry.
On her first go, that attempt was too far. I mean, I love the confidence, but... Oh, Grace. More, Grace, more. Come on. And faster. I'm watching you, Grace. Admin privileges will be removed. No, oh, don't throw the lollipops. They've got a stick. That's dangerous. I'm going into mum mode. You can deliver the lollipops to people. Hey? That was a good thing. You're a better thrower than Sophia. Some people are very good at catching here as well. We're going to invite the rats in here soon. That was a very impressive throw.
Thank you.
I can see how you represent.
8 years ago, yeah.
Maybe just deliver a few of the lollipops up and down. Give everyone a sugar rush. Amazing. Okay, what is a computer? I mean, let's start truly at the basics here. It looks like most of you have one, so I suppose you kind of know what it is. But there's some key elements to a computer, and you know, we don't really care too much about it in 1511, just a little bit. Processor to execute some commands, there's some memory to store information, and we care about that because in C you will also get quite an intimate knowledge of memory and to how you can really blow things up in memory. So that's going to be a bit exciting. So we provide a computer with some specific instructions that it follows, and that's programming. And then we solve some problems, which is just all amazing things. Okay, who knows? I mean, I've got the slide up here, so I don't know why I'd ask you, what is an operating... Who knows what an operating system is? Anyway, hands up. No one. I mean, I would hope if you have a computer, It might be running some sort of operating systems on it. Who's using Mac OS? Few. Who's using Windows? Oh. Who's using Linux? Okay. Well, guess what? You're all going to be using Linux soon, but very, on our lab machines. So basically, the operating system sits between your code and the computer hardware, and it allows us to execute our programs. This is a very simplistic way of looking at it, and it's really just to introduce you to what you will be using, which is Linux, and it is a Unix-based operating system. At UNSW here, we were the first to use Linux, actually, back in the day. And someone called John Lyons, who the John Lyons Garden is named after outside CSE. Actually, we have the book that he commented out on how to use the Unix system. And that book is the most illegally copied computing book because he wasn't meant to be doing that, but he did. He brought it from Bell Labs. It was all very exciting. So Linux, open source, which is probably why we use it, let's be honest. More reliable, it's lightweight, it's faster, more secure, but it's not like you have a choice, you're just using Linux. Okay, so let's see what you're going to be using. So you're going to be, in your first lab, putting something called, don't look at my desktop, I am not, this is actually cleaned up, so, but that's what inside of my brain looks like. What you're going to be using is this thing called Tiger VNC, and it's going to log you into a virtual CSE lab. Okay, and this virtual CSE lab is what you will be using to complete your work on. In about week, 2, 3, 4, you're going to see me switch to just using VS Code. Because Tiger VNC gets too slow, but you will be using Tiger VNC. Maybe some of you will just be using VS Code with some SSH access. We will talk about that later. This is the easiest way to run it to start with, and then you can decide. I'm just going to, just so that it's less intense for you. Okay, so you've got something called the terminal. Okay, and the terminal, you're going to become very familiar with the terminal. And it's this lovely thing that lets you do all your prompting, run all your commands. It's this beautiful window, and you will be doing a lot from terminal. And who's used terminal before? Let's just do that. A few of you. Don't worry, for those that haven't, you will still get to enjoy using it, I guess. Okay, so it's a command line driven interface, which means that there is no icons or anything like that. You're going to type commands in and remember commands, and you're going to feel like an absolute wizard when you do it. And you're going to input something, and then it's going to output something back at you. Okay, so the whole big thing is called the terminal. Then you've got the shell, which is just this bit inside, and the shell is a program that executes the commands. It's got its own syntax. And then you have the prompt, and that's the line that kind of lets you put in whatever you are inputting into the program. You might ask it for some information, or you might run a compiler, which we'll talk about in a second. So it's all happening in every which way. Okay, so for those of you that have used the terminal before, let's do a few Linux commands. Actually, I don't actually want to show you my desktop here as well. I should have thought about this better. Yeah, it's even worse here. No, I cleaned it up. Did I clean it up? I don't think I cleaned it up. Don't do what I do, which is just put everything on the desktop. That's a really terrible way to organize yourself. But basically, you have a few commands. I'll just go through them here, and then I'll type a few of them when I decide how not to be embarrassed about my desktop. If you type in ls, it's going to give you everything that is sitting in the... Yeah, it's looking very good here. And look at these names. These are amazing. Test. So ls it lists everything that is in your current, where you're standing. So you're able to see what files are available to you. then you can make a new directory. And what directory should we make? Grace, give me a directory. Week 1. So if you type mkdir week 1, oh, yours is not as fun. I think, yeah, look at this, Spice Girls. That was a Sophia directory that I never deleted. It's been there for 2 years. So if I want to make a directory, I'll do mkdir week 1. It's going to make a directory called week 1. And then I'll type in ls, and somewhere in this forsaken wonderland of files, I'll see a new directory that's now called week 1. And I can go into that directory by changing directory, by doing cd, and then typing the name of the directory that I want to travel into. And as you can see right now, I've gone inside the directory week 1, which means I'm sitting inside this folder. It's got nothing in it. So when I type ls to list out what's in it, it's going to tell me, well, there's nothing, and it's not going to list anything out. Oh, good. This theatre is putting out all the stops. Now this cupboard is opening. I've complained about this cupboard a few times. Okay. 2 more commands. Why not whilst we're here? I want to come out of this directory. I'll just change directory ... and I'll go back out by 1. Okay, the ... makes me go up by 1. What happens? How do I go back? Does anyone know how I just go back to the start if I'm 3 directories in and I'm having a great time? Yeah, what else can I do? Yeah, just cd and then boom, I'm all the way back at the start. Now, who knows what a directory is? I'm saying directory. Does everyone know what a directory is? Kind of. Basically, just a folder. That's the modern name for it. And inside that folder will be some files. So we've got the folder is the directory, and then inside it will be the files. Okay. And sometimes I am so lost, as you can see, I'm always a very organized person. So sometimes I'm so lost that I need to find out where I am. So I print my working directory, and it tells me my exact location with all the folder structure. It's me. Can you hear that? Can everyone hear that? This is the ultimate experience you're getting, the ultimate. It sounds like we're going to take off on a flight somewhere, no doubt, somewhere exciting, hopefully where everything works and internet exists. Okay, this is nice. Okay, that was so good. You can remove files, you can copy files, and you're going to get some practice doing that in your first lab as well when you're playing around. Yep, you're going to, I'm just going to skip it for now, or not skip it. How does everyone feel? Do you want me to go over it? Start a file, not start a file? Let's start a file, and then we can remove it. Oh, we've calmed down. There we go. All right, I'm going to make a file inside somewhere where you can see. Okay, so what I've done now is I've kind of moved along directories to travel to the week 1 directory that you can have access to from your from the course website. So you'll be able to see the code that I create now. And all I did was just change directories until I got to the right place that will show where I am to you. So I'm going to make a file, and I'm going to write code which opens up VS Code. And then my file will be welcome.c. I'm going to use the .c because I'm creating a file that will be in C. And when I press enter, I thought for a second it's not going to do anything, and that's it. But it did. It opened up this beautiful welcome.c file for me. And now if you see me go in here, if I type ls, no, because I haven't saved it, so don't worry about that. So you see this dot here, this is going to be the bane of your existence. It means you haven't saved the file, and that means that you cannot, okay, so now I've saved it, and if I do ls, you'll see that the file is now in the directory of week 1. And what you will see as well is that you will see this file appear in the website where we have lecture code for week 1. Right there, obviously, right there. It's appeared. Everything is looking great. Give it a few minutes. I think we put it on a 1-minute refresh. So it's really, it will appear there in 1 minute. We'll check back. It's clearly everyone is having still their summer holiday. Oh, of course, I haven't made it red. Yep. Don't worry about this. Just making sure that you can see it now. All right, and now.
I think the directory name is wrong.
Sophia's fired. I gave her a different path. It's fine. I'll fix it after the lecture. Don't worry, there's only 20 minutes of coding. It's not going to be an exciting piece of code. You're fine. Okay, so let's talk about the very first file, and who knows how we start every programming language? Hello world. How can we do something else here? Okay, so in C we have a few things that we do, and I'm just going to go through them here, and then we're going to do them in our piece of code. Okay, so this is what a little piece of code looks like, and this one is very little. So this stuff here, that's your comments, okay? This is not visible to the computer. The computer skips this when it compiles, and we'll talk about what compiler is in a second. But basically, this is for human eyes, okay? I'm writing what this program is about, and I clearly can't write. Buckle, don't worry about buckling in, just buckle. Then we have something over here called #include, and then these lovely stdio.h, okay? And that part is including a standard C library. So what it allows us to do is it allows us to have access to some things that we don't have to write ourselves, okay? And that means we can just borrow some things from the standard C, and the standard input-output allows us to have access to this thing here on line 10, which allows us to print things out to the terminal. So if we try and do it ourselves, just to have a little feel for it. Okay, so let's do some comment here. Okay, and it is our week 1. So the first thing you will always do, and for now, in week 1, for now, you're only ever going to use, just in week 1, we are going to add other libraries. You're going to do this #include, and that #include is going to include a library that you need, but you will see, we'll see in a second what happens if we don't include it. So you've got this #include, which you will have on top of your every program that you write, and usually you'll have this stdio, standard input-output, on everything that you write. Otherwise you won't have access to simple commands. What are they? They're called functions, but we'll learn about those in the next week. Okay, then in C we have a main, okay? And C always starts reading from main, okay? So you might have many of these types of little functions all through your program, but C will always find the main, and it will start reading at main. Okay, so what on earth do these words even mean here? Okay, so what is this int? What is this main? What is this void? It looks a bit horrific. Who knows what int means? Yeah. Yeah, so int means integer, and what it means is that, and for now you don't have to remember what I say, don't worry, we're going to go through it. But int means integer, and this main is going to return an integer, which means that it's going to finish with a return command, and then it has to return an integer, which is a whole number. Okay, so for now it's going to be returning either 0 or 1. In C, usually 0 means that we have had a successful return. That means that no issues have happened, and we've been successful in doing something or other. And 1 means that we have had some issues and there might be an error code or something like that. For now, don't worry about the semantics of it. Just kind of remember this structure for now for week 1. We will go more in details about what all of this means as we go. Okay, so now we've got to do something, otherwise this is really not doing anything. This is the most boring program ever. And what we're going to do is we're going to printf, and printf is your standard output to terminal. So who knows what printf stands for? Yeah. Yeah, print formatted. So it's going to print out something for us. Again, don't worry for now. Just remember that it's called printf. And you're going to have a bracket, and in two quotation marks between them, you're going to put whatever it is that you want to output out to terminal. I guess we have to. Okay, and then if you notice, I finish my statements with a semicolon. So we kind of have a little program now, and maybe it will work, maybe it won't, don't know. We'll have to find out soon. So you'll notice that the function or this program is enclosed in curly braces. And so whatever's happening inside the curly braces, we'll talk about more about what the curly braces mean. This is going to run once it enters the main. Okay, so the main here is the name of this function, and that's where C will always start reading. You will always have a main, and then you might have other things, and you can do your own names, doesn't matter, we will talk about that. And then there is this thing in brackets called void. Who knows what void means? Yeah. Means nothing. Just like in English, a void is a hole of nothing. This is also a hole of nothing. It means that I am not giving this program anything to run with, okay? That's what we put in brackets, is the inputs into the program, and I'm not inputting anything into it. So for now, all you have to remember is this int main void, and then curly braces, and then you return 0, and then in between you'll do something. But don't worry, that's all going to change. We're going to do a lot more than that. Okay, then I'm going to save it, and then I need to do something. How do I run it, right? How do I run it? Can a computer understand what I've just written here in this beautiful English language? No, a computer cannot understand this. What does a computer understand? Yeah, ones and zeros, right? Computer's not so clever that it's reading my language and it's like, yep, amazing, you're just a wordsmith. So we need to be able to translate whatever we've written here into something that a computer can understand. And for that, we use something called a compiler. So usually for C, who knows what compilers used for C? Yeah. GCC, yeah. So there's a whole bunch of standard compilers that are used in C. But here in the course, we do not use them. We use something called DCC, which was built in-house especially for you guys. And you will not appreciate DCC until week 7, when you do linked lists and you don't have to see a segfault. And we will do it. You'll see what I mean. So DCC is combining a whole bunch of tools behind the scenes. And what it does is it runs for you a standard compiler, but it combines all the tools to check for things, and it gives you much better error messages. Because one thing about C, and why people don't like to learn C to start with, is it's got really confusing error messages that are quite cryptic, hard to understand, especially when you're just starting out. So DCC tries to alleviate that. And then we've also extended it by giving it an AI module, DCC help, which allows you to also get AI help on that issue and error, and it will explain it further. And you'll get a better answer with DCC help than you will with ChatGPT, because we construct the prompt to send off a stack frame and values in memory and a whole bunch of things that are not normally available to you. Okay, so let's use this wonderful compiler. Okay, so DCC, which is the name of the compiler, that's how you're going to compile the program. And then you, nope. And then you need to tell it what to compile. Okay, so the program is called welcome.c. So if I do welcome.c, okay, DCC welcome.c, what it will do is it will run the compiler, everything what's successful, and if I list what's in there now, it's going to have this thing called a.out. Who knows what a.out is? Yeah. Yeah, it's an executable file. It's something that the computer can read. However, it's pretty awful, isn't it, to have an a.out file? Like, what is a.out? Why have we got a.out? So what you can do is you can also specify the name of a file that you would like to make. So if I use this flag -o and then type welcome, what it will now do, and compile as well, is it will have this thing here called welcome. So basically what it's done is it's created the a.out file, but it's called welcome, which makes it a lot easier to read for a human and understand. And then who knows what do I do to run that executable file? Yeah. Yep. So I do // and I'll do the name of the program. So note that I don't put .c here because I'm not running my C program anymore. I've compiled it to an executable file. So what I run is the executable file which has no extension. And there is the output of our hello world. It looks pretty awful, like my desktop. Everything is bunched up together, no spaces. Who knows how I can fix that? Yep, so at the end of my hello world, I want to put a new line, which means I wanted to press enter basically. Okay, so to do that, what I will do is I'll /n, and that will do a new line, which means this character will tell it, okay, I want you to press enter basically at the end. So now if I save it again and I compile it again, and then I run it again by doing /welcome, it will now do it much nicer with a new line and everything. Okay, so now what happens when you do not have this lovely include.stdio.h? Okay, so what happens when you don't include a standard C library? Let's have a look. Who reckons there will be an error? Oh, quite a few people. I think you'll be right. So I'll compile it again. And what it will do is it will give me something that looks amazing. I know it looks ugly to start with, but read it. Oftentimes I've seen people just like not read it. The answer is right there in the error, and they're just doing something for 20 minutes when they could have fixed it in 2 minutes. So it'll say implicitly declaring library function printf. So you're trying to use printf without actually having anything going on. And if you see the DCC explanation, it's really telling you what you need to do to fix it. It's saying, have you actually included stdio.h? And then you'll see there's two things you can do. You can be like, I still don't get it, so I'm going to run DCC help. And what DCC help is going to tell you is that it may be wrong because it's an AI-generated issue. And then it's going to give you some ridiculously long thing that should just say, hey, you forgot the standard library, could you just please include it? So for this error, obviously, this is a little bit verbose, a bit too much, but it can be very helpful if you don't know what's going on to get a bigger explanation and a longer explanation of what's happening. Okay, so let's come back and let's put this lovely thing back in. And let's save it again. And let's run it again. So let's say we fixed it. And it works again. So now also just to show you, if I can run that a.out file, and it will do exactly the same thing. But if you remember, I created the a.out file with my previous version of welcome.c, which did not have a new line. So that's the executable file. It doesn't have the new line yet. If I want to do it on the new file, I'll just compile my welcome.c. So if you don't specify a name for the program, it will just create the a.out file. And then if I do a.out now, then it will give us hello world with a new line. So use the names of programs. Otherwise, you know, it looks a lot neater and it's a lot nicer as well. It doesn't make sense not to have it. But the a.out is there if you're feeling lazy and it's been, you know, 3 hours of working on your code and you're really starting to get over it. Okay, so let me have a look. Okay. Okay, so what you will do in your first labs is you will be setting up that VLab environment and you'll be running it, and you will be doing your first programs as well with /n and all the rest of it, and it will be a really nice lab. It will actually be a really chill lab, so hopefully you will feel confident to start doing more difficult programming. Have you got any questions about the first Hello World? I promise tomorrow we really pick up speed. Today was the perfect day to have those tech issues. Okay, there's this thing called ACS. They want us to advertise to you. It is a thing, they're offering free membership for people, and you can get something's Australian computing something. And they offer complimentary student membership that you can get. All right. Have a great rest of the day. Hello. I'll put up a solution.
Did you have like make changes to it?
To the DCC health module.
Also, we did. Did he like use the education for
No, he does one for You will, but it will be in the lab, so don't worry about it. It will all be sorted out in the lab.